Once again, thank you for joining us to Iranian Judaica think tank. This time, they were speaking about the democracy in the Middle East as well. That's based on the religion or separation between church and state in the Middle East. Is it possible or not? And the second question that we already reviewed, it was regarding the, as we say, whatever happened in the revolution, is that gonna gonna get to the point of the revolution or evolution? Revolution, we had two revolution as well, in the French Revolution, 1789 as well, and the Russian Revolution in 1917. That were based on the human dignity that they wanted, going to bring him from up to down. Uh, and it was, forced by the government and the governments, but in comparison to 6040 in Britain and 1776, that wasn't just based on the social matters, as we say, Rousseau, Marx, and Lenin, and Marx and Engels, but it was based on the covenant, on the Bible as well, on the family, and it was not a revolution, it was evolution. That's why coming from down to up, by the families, by the sources, human sources that we say, getting to the point that's going to have the human dignity as well, going to get to the democracy. How we can find that in Middle East? One, second thing, the political culture that we have in Middle East, that is based on the religion. Is it possible without any Islamic reformism in these countries, 76 Islamic countries, as well that we have 22 Arab countries, in comparison to Israel, that during the 70 years they got to the point that they have not only the only democracy in the Middle East, also they have the base on the human dignity as well on Bible, and being one of the superpowers in the region. Getting to the Mr. Saginian and Mr. Chaman Ara from Chicago and Los Angeles that joining us. Thank you, sir, that we're joining us to this session. Starting with Mr. Saginian, what do you think about regarding that you said right now separation between church and statehood in Middle East, that you said education as well, we need motivation and implementation of the constitution, sir. Okay, thank you. Mr. Saginian?
Well, several items about all the different questions that you had in one large paragraph. Item number one, people, well, before that, a revolution and evolution are two different things. Evolution takes a long time. Maybe we'll reach the same conclusion. Revolution, on the other hand, tries to pass that in very short time. And people who go into revolution are revolutionaries, basically. They want change right now, as fast as they can. Most of them are not administrators. Most of them are not lawmakers. Most of them are not governors. They are revolutionaries, basically revolutionaries. That has been evident in revolution of France, revolution of Russia, revolution of China, revolution in Cuba, revolution in Iran. All those people came to power through revolution, and they did not know how to run the country. As a result, for a long time, I don't know, 1 year, 1 decade, 1 century, the trouble went on and on until a new generation came up and started learning how to govern. Right now, we have a similar problem in Armenia. Armenia, after 72 years under Russian control, no control of their own, no thinking of their own, all of a sudden they got a country free, they don't know what to do. Whatever they were producing, they cannot sell because they don't know how to administer, how to sell. They don't have salespeople. They don't have salespeople, nothing. So they went into the second revolution 2 weeks ago. They have a brand new government that still we do not know whether that government is going to be able to run or not. Same thing happened in Iran. We got a bunch of clerics coming in who knew nothing except religion. And that's all they knew. And even the religion that they thought they knew was not Islam. It was Shia, which is not Islam. It's a different thing. Back to the question. We have a population that for more than 2,000 years has been living as serfs. They are serf-minded people. They need somebody to tell them, especially in Shiism. Shia, as most Iranians know, including you, is a follower. And any follower has to go to his mujtahid leader and ask him, what should I do this? How should I handle this? What should I do with that? And he has to obey all the commands that he receives. With that kind of a population, you cannot have democracy. Democracy works only and only when every single person, first of all, accepts that he is a person, has got the freedom and he has got the right to think independently, decide independently, and acting independently. To have this kind of a serf-minded people to go into democracy, we have to pass through the 3 stages of educating, motivating, and activating. Without that, we cannot have anything. Without that, we will have the dictatorship, either military or clerical or whatever, dictatorship. For democracy, we need free mind, free thought, free action. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chaman Ara. What do you think about the Declaration of the Human Rights and how we're going to have, we're speaking about the era that's going to be 2 years in Iraq. It took them 15 years, and right now evolution, they're going to get to the democracy, and they have without even they had a constitution that it was prepared by Americans, even tiny thing it was prepared, as well as the coming and collapsing the Ba'ath regime of Saddam Hussein. Everything was prepared. Everything was planned. What happened that after 2003 that it invaded this country till now after 15 years we don't have any democracy in this country as well. Those opposition, Iranian opposition, that searching for gonna have first of all collapsing the Islamic regime in Iran, and then gonna have the constitution without any preparing themselves by being together and thinking together, and on a statement of the constitution. It's gonna for the future of Iran. The position we are against any constitution being written outside the country. It doesn't mean the 8 million people, they don't know what's going on inside the country, and they're gonna decide for those youngsters that right now protesting and giving their lives for democracy. How it can happen that 8 million people outside the country, diaspora, are going to decide any constitution for inside of. It's not this decision making. Maybe it's like preparing that everyone going to be their own constitution, going to have all together as well. In 1776 we had in America, United States, that each one they have their own right to define themselves, autonomy, or what does it mean? Family, community, and covenant. Being together, it means not religion. It's also nationality, ethnic groups, and as well languages that we have. Like in America, they have also in Iran that speaking about federalism, speaking about be divided. What do you think about these circumstances right now that we can find in opposition to the constitution writing outside the country, sir?
Well, I make one correction to what you said. And our mission, which we are a group of Iranian American, we are getting together. We are trying to make the idea understood by the Iranian diaspora, the Iranian who are outside Iran, to understand that the solution for the crisis in Iran is to consider writing a new constitution. We are not going to write a constitution and telling that this is a constitution. And actually, we call that proposal of the draft of a constitution. Look, it's not even draft of the constitution. We are proposing to the people of Iran, the people who are in Iran. Those are the people who will decide what constitution is good. Now we want to have the argument of the constitution to be known in Iran and outside Iran by the elite of the country. Unfortunately, we have not succeeded that, because still the idea of talking about constitution is really protested by so many of Iranians who are living outside Iran. Why? Because they have their dream. They are dreamers. They left Iran 40 years ago, and they came here. Now that they see another opportunity, probably they could go back and have the same dictatorship as they had 40 years ago. So this is a correction that I would like to make to you, that we have no intention of even saying that this is a constitution. No, we are proposing a draft of a constitution and try to understand, to make the people in Iran understand and make change of constitution their slogan in their revolution. Now, I want to go back not too many years ago, like the United States Revolution or French Revolution or any other revolution, but I go back to just 45 years ago. I remember one thing His Majesty Aryamer, late Aryamer, said, Shah, and he said, when I go, the geopolitics of the Middle East will change. And he was right about that. Because he knew that he thought that he is the holder of the Shia, because he was the leader of the Shia world, as he was regarding himself, because he was one time an Ayatollah and one time a military man and one time a prime minister, the Shah and everything. He was everything. So then when he went, everything went to crazy situation. I remember I wrote this book. If you look at this, this is a jigsaw called Perplexity of Iran. Shows Iran in the center, and all these countries around the world and all of our neighbors are those jigsaw we get together. From Venezuela to China to Syria, Iran is always at the center of the Middle East. And for that matter, I want to say, if Iran stabilizes, the whole Middle East will stabilize. If there is crisis in Iran, there will be crisis all over Middle East. And that is why in this book, I used a Einstein formula of E is equal MC2. And I converted to like this, that crisis is equal to Iranian Shia multiplied by Saudi Wahhabi into the power of 2. Saudi Wahhabi and Salafism, which is a true Islam, and if you want to say Islam, forget about all these 1,000 sects that all over the world. The true Islam is what they practice in Mecca and Medina right now, and what the Saudis are. These are the true Muslims. The rest are invention of Iran or other countries, from Morocco to Indonesia. I don't regard themselves as the original Islam. Original Islam is Saudi Arabia. That is constant, which is C2, speed of light to the power of 2. And Shiism is a variable. Now, if this Shiism is reduced, and if the interference of the Shia in the Middle East is reduced to minimum, then the crisis will become minimum. And if it goes to 0, it becomes 0. You cannot touch C2. You cannot touch this speed of light. You cannot touch Salafism. Therefore, in my opinion, the only solution, if they are after any peace in the Middle East, whether it is between Israel and Palestinian, whether it is between Yemeni and Saudi Arabia, whether it is between Pakistan and Iraq, Pakistan and Afghanistan, if it's the difference between Iraqis and the Kurds, and whatever you have to see, the origin of all of them comes from the stability and what you have in Iran. And that is why the solution for the whole Middle East is to change the constitution in Iran. But again, as I said, nobody really, of those people who hold the stock exchange in New York and they are in the military followers or the banking system, this crisis is in their benefit. And that's why I don't think they will, but we will try to do our best to convey the message of changing constitution in Iran as much as we can. And I hope sometime Iran, which I don't hope, I do know in year 2020, Iran will have a new constitution, which religion is separated from the government.
So right now we are finding the youngsters in the streets protesting against the dictatorship of the Velayat Faqih and the clergyman that's ruling the country. On the on other hand, we have the opposition that's not maybe powerful enough to make the change outside the country, as they believe that they're gonna do that, as you mentioned, dreaming that. How we can see that 90% of the work is done by these youngsters in Iran that are 70% beneath of 40 years, and they are بچه‌های انقلاب, the revolutionary children that even that were brainwashed, that is say death to America, death to Israel, and every day burning these flags. We can find these revolutionaries being changed, and to those that are thinking people, those that they don't want clergymen in the power, those that even that they got the education that it seems to be revolutionary. They don't want any religion. That even in one of the mosques in Isfahan, they they put their back to the clergyman and it said back to enemy and front to the nationality. So it means that the people inside the country, they know whatever that they're planning to gonna do, which country they are looking for as a human dignity and declaration of human rights, separation between church and state, and what's going on outside the country with a position that should be more powerful to going to make these changes for the next future in Iran, and opposing any proposal of draft of constitution. Mr. Saginian, what's your opinion about it?
Well, again, several different items. First, I'm going to refer to whatever Chaman Ara said, that everything is controlled by Wall Street, by stock exchange. I don't believe in that. I know Wall Street and stock exchange is governed by all the conglomerates, huge big corporations with a hell of a lot of money that they want to make sure that their business is solid. True. If that was true, the revolutions that took place in recent revolutions, Armenia, in Afghanistan, in China, in Indochina, they would not have happened unless if we believe that everything is already planned and done and finished by the Wall Street and nobody can do anything. That I cannot believe, because I know for sure that although I eat the food that some of the branches of the Wall Street and the whatever it is produces, I eat that, yes, but I don't worship them, I don't obey them. And people who went on the revolution, they went against them. Now, also, I know for sure that a person like Zbigniew Brzezinski, that was a protege of the Wall Street, he was the protege of the Rockefellers, came and decided how they are going to use the Shiism against in the Green Belt against Russia to limit Russia. Yes, it happened. But as we know very well, two guys in Iran went against those big, powerful people. One of them was Qawm Saltaneh that worked against Stalin and really fooled Stalin, and the other one was Khomeini, only 40 years ago, fooled Brezhnev and Brzezinski and Carter. They said that yes, we'll do. When they got into power, they went exactly the opposite way. In other words, when revolution occurs against the establishment, and the establishment cannot control it. It is out of their hands. Putting that aside, going back to the essence of the question itself, as to what can be done. Opposition, you mentioned about opposition. Let's define opposition. Opposition, who is opposition? What constitutes opposition? The ones who, like Dr. Ali Amini, Dr. Bakhtiar, Jam, Ganji, they called themselves oppositions. No, they were not oppositions. They were lackeys of the people who paid them to go and act and keep people busy. That's all they did. I have worked with all 4 or 5 of them. I know who they were. And I know how much money they received, and I know what they did. Opposition inside Iran, no, that is something that the opposition within the party that rules Iran. That opposition is a new facade to keep people busy as if something is happening while nothing is happening. The main body is ruling. The only real true opposition is the youth in Iran that is really active, really truly active. They are the only ones who can do. What we can do, well, I don't want to repeat myself. I have said that there is nothing we can do except trying to help them, to give them means. You asked for the question, not question, as requested for us to write something and give it to you, very short, very concise, very digested. Yes, I can do that. I can send it to you and you can use as you please. It will not be exactly what I said, but it will be the essence of whatever I said in very short form so that you can use it. That's all I can do.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saginian. As a researcher, Iranian studies, Islamic studies, it's based in Los Angeles. Mr. Chaman Ara, in brief, in 5 minutes, how you can give us, regarding whatever that Mr. Saginian said about the youngsters, those that make the revolution be happen right now, as well that they gonna decide and not the opposition, and they are, presenting the opposition outside the country these 4 years. Is it possible that you cannot have for 4 years a powerful opposition outside the country with these, human rights and the dictatorship that you can find in these, Islamic state based on the Islamic constitution inside Iran? Brief, if you can say how we can have beside the constitution and asking for constitution right now, what they can do as a powerful opposition outside the country besides that the proposal for the draft of the constitution. What else they can do in diplomacy?
First of all, I would like to tell you that the majority of us outside Iran don't know the power of youth and women in Iran. You will only believe that if you are in the universities and see how these youngsters, they are 20 years old, 25 years old, how they react. I have put some videos of the talking, just asking some student to come and talk while the minister is sitting there. And he goes and talk in a big theater and talks to the minister of education directly and tell him that I don't care, you're all thief. Once you come, you say that guy is thief, and the other one said you are the thief. I don't care. I just want a job for myself. This is one student which is only 19 years old. I can see his face. Another video I have seen that you see the president sitting with all the ministers, and the student goes there and starts speaking and talks about what you have done wrong, Mr. President. And he swears at the president and says, you are the Ahmadinejadiest person ever. That means it is a swear, because right now, anybody referring to Ahmadinejad, the former president, it's just like an insult. If you say, well, you are Ahmadinejad, that's an insult. So, but the point is, all these diaspora of Iran, which are outside Iran, in Los Angeles, in San Francisco, they don't understand the power of these people in Iran, the power of youth people. And then they all want constitution. They all want to change the constitution, but it is written in constitution. If you say such a thing, your penalty is death. That is why I said to you before that talking about constitution in Iran has the penalty of death. Therefore, the only help, as Armin said, that we can do is to help them how to propose a draft of a constitution and talk about constitution. But unfortunately, majority of these what so-called opposition, they just don't want to talk about constitution. Whereas the only problem we have is the change of constitution, and that is what we are after, to change the constitution and to prepare a draft of a constitution to propose it to the young people in Iran.
Thank you very much, sir. Just Mr. Saginian, in brief, in 2 minutes, if you can give us a brief and a message and give a conclusion. What do you think about whatever that Mr. Chaman Ara said for any proposal, and what's the opposition to just not, they don't want to agree with that. They prepare themselves the day after and not the day before. Sir?
Definition of the opposition, because as Chaman Ara pointed it out, they are not really truly opposition. They are a bunch of people who lost the country because they didn't know what they were doing, they didn't know what they were facing, and they couldn't control anything. And right now, they still think on the basis of something that for 40-some years did not work, and people were suffering because of that inability of the government to govern the people and help the people. By building a huge, big army, which was supposed to be the 4th strongest army in the world, people were not happy with it. And the government did not care whether people were happy or not. And those who stand in San Francisco, as Chaman Ara points out, or in Los Angeles, the ones who call themselves Mashrute Khah, Pahlavi Khah, Pahlavi Paras, or whatever they call, they still go on the same old thing because they don't have anything of their own to give to people. No direction, no thought, nothing. It's all old stuff. It does not work, and youth do not accept it. Therefore, the only thing we can do, only and only, exactly what Chaman Ara pointed out, to use all the means to help the people to express their thoughts. That's all.
Thank you very much to being with us in Iranian Judaica think tank this time and this session, and with Mr. Saginian from Los Angeles as a researcher, as well Mr. Chaman Ara from Chicago as a researcher in Islamic and Iranian studies, as two intellectuals that we can define that for the next session. Join us. They're going to have these discussions and asking questions and so on. And if you can bring your comments on the Facebook and Telegram as well, you can join us with more questions that we can represent it with our guests for the next time. Thank you to being with us for the next time. Thank you, Mr. Saginian and Chaman Ara, to being with us. Thank you very much, sir.
Bye-bye.
All the blessings.